incident no esi ewo eye Ridge Hospital no. What we heard was that Ralph ene ne nanfofobia ko Ridge Hospital, and they have attacked a nurse. Where did we hear this from? It came from the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwifery Association for General Secretary, your friend David Chum Tinkran. Now this man, on their secretary. Now, the first question, if you are the secretary of an association, the first question you ask, so who be sir, now be sir. The first question you ask and then say, who is in charge? That's the first question you ask. Who is in charge? Who is in charge of the hospital? In fact, some person we are very, very honest. You ask yourself, the first question you ask and say, that moment, who was in charge of the shifts? Because you start from the bottom and you start to read it to the top. It's Assembly Sianajua, who is in charge of the night shift? Who is in charge, or who was in charge of the afternoon shift? Who was in charge of the morning shift? So then you start to break the matter down. Then you get to know who is responsible, or whose responsibility was it to make sure this was actually curtailed. But this man, who is the general secretary of an association, and let us not get this wrong, the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwifery Association, it is like any other association in Ghana. It is a Ghana Tomatoes Union Association. It is a Molikoko Sellers Association. It is a Mampam Association. It is a Ghana Bar Association. An association. Remember, the Minister of Health, he is overseeing 71 associations under his ministry. 71 unions. 71. And this is one minister with his deputy overseeing the activities of 71 unions under his office. And you are the secretary of an association. What do you do first? You first ask, who is in charge? Now, this is what happened. My member video now you share strategically, interestingly. The video that was put out there is the only video making headlines, making rounds. Say, Ralph and now for a rage, they actually went to brutalize a nurse. And this is the man who started this campaign. Remember, the president of the Ghana Registered Nurses Association, Midwives Association, Sama Ameno, Nikunu MPP chairman. This guy is her deputy. This guy is her general secretary. Now, this guy started a campaign, and that campaign was straightforward, geared towards the minister. And you ask yourself, why? Now, minister, why Edding? Na minister na ya, and the Asemisi Hospital, the management of the hospital has been left out. The board has been left out. But straightforward, the minister is the one being questioned. Now, the so-called video, this man and his group, the whole Ghana say, this is the confrontation and the assault is Siwa Ridge Hospital. And I know you have watched it. There's a reason why I want to play this video. Let's watch this. So this is the incident. The Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwifery Association for SA. Sa video na CCTV ne capture nyina. Inti CCTV na wo Ridge Hospital no. This is the video I'm capture. I'm say Ralph ne downfofo a omo call the emergency ward no. They attacked a nurse. So far, this is the only video these people released into the system. And let me tell you on authority, they carefully released this little short video to help the narrative of this guy and his boss. Now, who share video no? These people now came out and said, nurse na mo hu no video no na mo hu no video no. She was beaten to pop. In fact, nurse no ye bu ni nsam ebu ni kom ema ontume home. Enti this guy led a team of media men to go to the hospital to interview the nurse. Remember, asam ni see no minister abaho anameboa. Remember, minister echreye and through the press conference, time or tia semono, the steps he took. And Sana, this man who is called David Chum Tenkran, stepped in as an association secretary. It's just a mere association. Okay. Now, next, no, almost say Ralph Moko Bo no prepare no onye.
When he came in, he wanted us to leave everybody and attend to him. So we explained to him. Ralph. Okay. We explained to him. And then he was like, he wouldn't sit down. And my intern told him to get a card, a hospital card. He said, why should he get a hospital card? Because his name must be in the system. Once his name is tied in the system, it should everything should pop up. And my intern said, no, it's not done like that in Ghana. There he was angry because he was told it's not done that. That is not done in Ghana. And he started insulting us. We don't want Ghana to progress. Then he brought out the phone. But initially, I did a pressure dressing for him. Okay. In his finger that he said it was bleeding. It had bled. The blood had dried. Okay. So I just had to put a gauze on it so that we reassure him. He wasn't happy about it, so he took off the dressing I did for him. Okay. Then I approached him and I told him that I've done a dressing for you, so the patient, we have 2 trauma cases and other cases too are there. He wants us to leave them. He got angry and he started yes. So he did this to me. And then when he went out, I don't know where the guys came from. Most of the health workers saw them earlier, so they had flee. I didn't see them. And then they, from my back to my chest, and then they were just...
Did they push you? Were you pushed? What did they do? What did they do to you?
Yes, I was hit. I don't know if it was a fist, a tap. I can't describe the...
But what happened to your hands?
Raphael, I don't know. Ralph did this to me. He hit me with the phone with the fist. And I even dodged a couple of the fists. And they hit me all over. But right now I have a dislocation on my shoulder. And some headaches and body pain.
All right, thank you very much.
And to add up, he was telling us he will follow us to our homes and beat us. And if take one life and...
Oh, he will take one life. I actually said that.
Yes.
Okay. But we are happy to hear that.
So, this is the nurse. What happened was, on the narration, it just said, Ralph Bayano, na ade twa ne nsa, and on no crab Ralph de ade chichire so, and a Ralph you to tune and say, adentina, among one and tem, on it will be so about also in here help. Now, they are approaching, into Ralph Woof, you know, can just say, Ralph, so, when you butre, and a Ralph so, when you butre, Ralph Pia Bontene, it's Ralph Bayano no de, the now for Bayana, almost started so almost bono. Into almost bony shoulder. Ralph didn't say a bone in some and say when move a made bandage at a tree. A man in Sabacono shoulder a dislocating tea, a shahumum. Emma Bakubi will name say a tap. Brunica's a tap, we defend a tap. Someone tapped you, and I say a fist punch. Also, would name, but the other man, you know, him say a tap, and I say a fist on one shutdown. In the situation ye, or my bruni ye. Now, it's interesting. As somebody see, the minister heard it. Minister he quickly, in fact, let me play the minister's own statement to you. I mean, what minister's statement?
On Monday morning, I sent a delegation to Ridge Hospital to ascertain the situation. When the delegation came up, upon debriefing, I realized that I had to follow up. And ladies and gentlemen, let me state this, that I have the health workers of this country at heart. And so any attempt by any individual or any group of people to try to incite the health professionals against government, pretending he cares more than us, is unfortunate. And we must stop that. It's an avoidable tension we must avoid. It doesn't help the sector. If indeed you are a practicing health professional in the sector, it doesn't help the sector. And so, when the delegation came back, I had to follow up. I was in the company with the Deputy Director General and other directors of the ministry. We joined the medical superintendent at the Ridge Hospital, and I visited the victims. After going around, we had a closed-door meeting to discuss the issues, not insults. One, how to look at beefing on the internal security, staffing issues. So, after the closed-door meeting, I came out to address the press to categorically condemn the physical attack. And that is the most important aspect.
So, Minister Asimo Kenyana say, "Asem see no, Ejuada, otu nipa ote no because minister no office no any Ridge and what? On a normal day, the minister is not supposed to go there. And you know, the management of the hospital are supposed to take care of this. And then if they have to write a report to their superiors, they write it. And if it has to go up to get to whoever has to take the necessary action, it is not the job of the minister. But approximation, baby, an office no one in hospital no one. Emu etia into otia asem no otin inframe no say no otu nipa se monko ho na monko assess situation na mobema me report. It is not even my duty to go there because somebody is being paid to make sure say this hospital is run efficiently. Now delegation they came to tell the minister say this is what we went to find, and the minister said, I want to go there myself and find out what exactly is going on. I want to see it with my naked eye. It's minister no ekoye onante hospital, Ridge Hospital. And remember, minister because say on the deputy director of the hospital no kan and a medical superintendent ne kan. That means the ministers no koye no na sa nurse no na oho. Remember, sansem we nyina asi no na ye won kofo a ye the hospital na show monsa, they have to make sure the right things are done. Ridge Hospital almost security. Yes or no? Yes. Ridge Hospital almost a management on standby in case there's an emergency. Yes or no? Yes. Ridge Hospital, your senior doctors or when even there is some kind of confrontation between junior nurses, senior nurses or whatever, they can step in, directors within. Yes. So the question here is, if anything like that happens, now Minister Kweniwa, report Benny Troy, who was in charge of that. Now, if this guy goes to a Ridge Hospital, who is the first person he's supposed to see? Or say, or a secretary of just an association. An association that is not backed by any federal law. It's just a mere association. It is also a doctor wako school onim nyansa no. Owura hospital what first no. Who did he consult? Who did he talk to? What report did he read? For him to come to that conclusion to go sit on radio to start insulting the minister. Remember, the minister, so Papa or a doctor. I'm sorry, team. I got the old picture. Papa was a doctor. Also, TSS said the employer is the minister in charge of that sector. So his employer is Honorable Akando. I don't know whether he's a practicing lawyer, a doctor or not, but also a doctor or practitioner. Now say the Ministry of Health asia. It means to say this guy, his boss or their employer is the Minister of Health. Now, some say crazy. What will make you the employee go on radio and speak this way? Nano asem on radio.
The fact that the whole thing came on social media, the young man was throwing his weight about in the hospital, which as a sector minister, you should know that that is not how things must be done at the hospital. The guy should have been arrested there and then. And I told you that the minister is always followed by a police officer. And therefore, if we have the wherewithal, if we think that things ought to be done rightly and properly, the guy should have been apprehended there and then. And don't forget that there's a police post just by the mortuary of Rich Hospital. They could have called for reinforcement. If you think that the duty of the police officer is just to protect the minister, that's fine. But while they were interacting with the guy, they could have called the police to come and apprehend him. How many minutes will it take for some police officer to even run from the mortuary of Rich Hospital to where they were standing?
Does the GRNMA have issues with the health minister?
We cannot have issues with our sector minister, but we think that we are not being treated fairly as nurses and midwives in Ghana. And you know that we have a lot of issues.
Under his tenure?
Not only, I mean, we have had a myriad of issues, but I mean, if you declare a strike action and a minister can decide that you go for a retired nurses and midwives to come and work and try to instigate groups that are within your fraternity that are not aligned with you to step in and all that, it tells you clearly that this is not somebody who is prepared to work with you.
So it's a lot of pent-up emotions, right? Because it looks like you're carrying. It's like you're carrying. It's like you're carrying. It's like you're carrying some.
Our action is not premised on any emotive.
Yeah. So as I was saying,
that we have issues at hand that ought to be discussed,
okay,
or issues at hand that ought to be resolved. I mean, if somebody goes to beat up a nurse, what is emotion about it?
So the question I was asking,
that emotion caused against me this morning.
Well,
I think that what has happened is very wrong. Everywhere, meaning Ghanaians must condemn it.
So I'm asking again, because I asked you whether you have any issues with the minister, considering your tone, and then you mentioned that I asked you whether it's under his tenure, because you talked about nurses not being treated fairly, and then I asked whether it's under his tenure, and you mentioned that you have issues with regard to your conditions of service, and he had said that he was going to be called in retired nurses to step in while they try and resolve the matter, and you have issues with that. You believe that some of your conditions were not entirely resolved, but I thought you had made some progress where there was an agreement to give you some portion of that of those conditions, and then the subsequent ones will also be included in the 2026 budget. Or you didn't make progress. That's the reason you called off your strike, no?
Absolutely, but we're thinking that even in August, some of the items could feature. I hope you heard what the Minister of Finance sat on Joy FM, PM Express to
I don't know. I don't know what he said.
You may not listen. You might have not have listened to it. The minister said he wasn't briefed by the sector minister about the concerns of nurses and midwives. That should clearly tell you that if what he said is anything to go by, somebody somewhere is refusing to advocate for the well-being of the ordinary Ghanaian.
So, Oko radio so one or cabro for bako any ebusan say oh na assembly see no na omo eka for say oh na minister no onam ho no some police need n'echi ade na minister no call duru ho na the police need dey n'echi ade wa ma police ni no anche raf mo e police station ho we oyakwasea we jimi onim nyansa. Every police officer in Ghana, you are signing with Juma. These are the fools wearing suit in Ghana. They need say every police officer, you are signing with Juma or Ghana. said the minister here, it is your responsibility to protect the minister. It is not your responsibility to go to another jurisdiction and make an arrest. So your police nikwana woda bank ano na say robbery so bank nenim nipa mienu ko na hu a, it is not your responsibility to go there and arrest. Your job is to stay at the bank and give that bank protection. The police will come and take care of that. Into where Jimmy Krano one kasa wo kasa na wo sa so say hospital one are your police depot. It is a hospital or the police depot or mortuary inside that. So morgue no in China hospital or police depot. Whose responsibility is it? Our hospital or to make sure say police officers from that morgue no police station or morgue in China abe arrest. Or your kwasia. Your politics no ye. And I'm going to talk to the young nurses in Ghana. This guy, he is using young nurses your politics. And Obama calls Subusa and say, as me see. Na only health minister or problem ana. Oh, I said na Obusa me say, any problem ya. And also Sibia Okasa no tone no. And also na unya obi na say oko strike. Na okachira wo say or kwakofa retired nurses ema obeye adwuma no. Abra onomo discussion sa nipa nyansa be no nim because onim say ye ne retired nurses ne nya fine. Adentina ono minister ne kofa omo. So it means say the all is because of what happened early on. And an Adrian said this is when he has to make the minister unpopular. The agenda is not about what happened at the hospital. The agenda is to direct the pressure on the minister for people to think the minister is not doing his job. He's just a mere association secretary. Or is that toilet man or Cambodia? Now I'm there, yeah. Osako Asempa, listen to this fool again. I
think in this statement, it was not captured here, say, or more air for me committee, but subsequent interviews, Minister Kase were putting a committee together to investigate in Samoa a course. Adiabako striking me in this statement, and they said, Ministry said they want to investigate the circumstances that led to the reported delay in care. Like I said, most members in our hospital may have contributed to their cause.
I've taken my also first thing okay, first, third, and fourth point. It makes sense. And now quite bizarre. What are the security implications? Why do you not be properly and country? They can't say, well, I mean, they are trying to beef up internal security. The police, they have a police post close to the mortuary and all that. All those people were there, and I thought they were in see. And the security situation has not been improved, and we are not happy about that. At the time, here, my tiny second point, Minister, who said there are systems over there. If he doesn't understand, he should get somebody to educate him. And I make a choice, say, triage system, so yes, Obi, don't buy house, maybe can't buy into the shame.
Yeah, Doc, I get you, but I think because
triage, Nia, he said, Oyariano, a immediate care, and I say, a delayed care as compared to others. If you shall know the immediate care, they will attend to you immediately. So, open to by time, actually, others, and after they will neglect you. They will give you first aid or whatever, but they will attend to other people who need more a year. It doesn't mean that they are delaying whatever. So that statement doesn't make sense to me at all. It doesn't make sense. Whoever wrote that statement doesn't even understand the hospital system. Or a farmer another day. What kind of life is that? Meanwhile, you are called disaster when you are told about a young statement. Sunday, no, you're man for call, and then right man for to call. And they are called any hospital directors now for Casanonia. What delay? Now, what banner a month for you the whole game of such a base of car near Fender? Yen Yam, we are passing high. No, you know how I said there is system delay. What kind of delay? There was no such delay. They went strictly by the lay down protocol. And then certain rap no now that you tell Obiat near structure based car near Fender. What's your Yam? Then they use the minister. See, what is even more annoying is what the minister did. His statements run contrary to his posture. Rap now, or no this answer and phone, embrace. Look at the pictures on social media. He affectionately embraced the rat guy, somebody who has been fingered as the perpetrator of that heinous crime. You embraced him. And then the guy whispered into his ears and he was smiling. Whether it was setting or whatever, how did the guy go to know that the minister had come there? I'll rush about her immediately.
Yeah, Doc, I get your point, but I just wanted to draw your attention, sir. In all of this, it is the Minister of Health we are talking about. Some of the statements might sound a bit too harsh. As far as Oyo sector minister, you should be minded by that.
I agree with you, Obi, but you see, Papa no how can you treat nurses like this? It's a case of disrespect. You go and embrace the very guy, and look, initially, he was being defended, so, management. It's not true. Look, respect
So, you see, yeah. Now, first interview, now, boy, his argument was that strike see and a minister could fire other people to replace interim. Say, omo negotiating retired nurses enye dwuma no. In the first interview or show the reason why or no embu minister no. In the second interview the problem say minister ni nimi nyansa. The ministry released a statement. It is not the responsibility of the minister to even come to the hospital. It is not.